Ryan Walters. I am here at Seoul World Cup Stadium once again along with Paul Mead and Matthew Binns. Gentlemen, it finished 2-1. We'll get to the question of if we can call this super match super in a bit, but Paul, again, I'll start with you. You're our FC Seoul columnist. Was that as comprehensive of a win as it felt in the first half?
Well, I think in the second half, Seoul managed the game better than Suwon did. They slowed the tempo down because they could afford to. They had the 2-goal lead, and I think it kind of frustrated Suwon a little bit, and then in the end, what Suwon had was just long-range efforts and sort of desperate crosses, and there wasn't really a lot from Suwon in the second half. And that, I think, was because of the way that Seoul slowed things down.
Yeah, well, we talked about it a lot in the second half. There were a lot of, to be honest, hopeless long balls from Suwon in the second half. They came out looking a little panicked, and they never really settled down. Matt, do you think that the nerves got the better of them?
I think it did before half time, certainly. I think after the second goal went in, there was a lot of long balls, aerial balls, and FC Seoul, they've got the second best defence in the league for a reason. Yeah. And they headed out all of those, they saw out all the threat, and when Dane was getting his head on the ball, there was not anybody there to feed off it. Yeah. Before the second goal, Suwon had been playing better when the ball was on the deck. They'd been putting it back from the byline, and it had been a lot more effective. Yeah. After that, when 2-0 down, they panicked. At half time, he did what we hoped they would do, and he brought on Yong Ki-hun. Brought Yong Ki-hun onto the left wing, moved in Sang-hyuk, who had not been very effective in the first half, moving out to the right wing, and put John Se-jin in attacking midfield. And it did have a bit more something to it. Yong Ki-hun obviously has that experience in these matches, but probably tried to calm things down, but I think the damage was done, and it took a penalty to bring the game back to life. Suwon really came back into it at the end, trying to find that equaliser, but until that penalty, it didn't look like they were going to find a way back in.
Yeah, well, and that penalty came about 10 minutes too late for it really to be a closely contested match. They did throw a lot into it at the end, and it almost felt like Seoul was going to get one on the counter there. Paul, you and I talked a lot about this defensively for Seoul, as Matt brought up. Kwak Tae-hee looks like a different man this year compared to last year.
Yeah, I was a bit critical of him last year, and I was worried that, due to his age, that maybe perhaps at this level he wasn't quite good enough anymore. But this season he's been very sharp. Yeah. And it kind of makes sense now, because last year he did struggle with injuries. He was still part of the Korean team set up last year, in the earlier part of the year. So, yeah, he looks like a different player, and whether it's him or Lee Young-hee or Hwang Hyun-soo or Kim Won-gyun in there with him in the centre-back positions, Seoul look really solid. The full-backs, I mean, they do have their merits, but today the first half they allowed Suwon in behind a little bit too much for my liking, and also in the wide areas in the second half, there was too many free kicks given away in dangerous positions. You want to be a little bit smarter with things like that. But overall, a solid display. I think because Seoul know that they have one of the best goalkeepers in the league behind them, and when you have someone who can produce saves out of nowhere, like he did against Sangju in the 0-0 draw, like he did against Gyeongnam as well, and frankly all season. And since he's been in goal there, and first choice for FC Seoul, he produces saves and he keeps Seoul in games, and he made one or two smart saves earlier. And I'm not saying it's just because of him, but it's certainly thanks to him.
Well, he helps.
He definitely helps, yeah.
I think one person that wasn't helping Suwon put much pressure on him today, and you did bring up that the fullbacks didn't necessarily have as good of a game as the center backs. Matt, we talked about this a lot during both halves, that Im Sang-hyuk just did not have a very inspiring game today. They didn't have a lot of options on the wings, because as we talked about in the halftime video, Wagunino's out serving a red card suspension, but we expected a little bit better from Im Sang-hyuk today, right?
Yeah, I've been singing his praises in previous matches. I thought it was a smart purchase from Busan. I think maybe the pressure of the occasion today. I mean, it is being a good attendance today, strong attendance,
close to 37,000
actual attendance. Obviously, in the K-League, all the attendance figures we see are actual paid attendances. This season onwards, the K-League only publishes the paid amount, the paid ticket amount.
Which even that was 29,000.
Yes, so it was a very it was a jumping
improved.
Sangam today, and I think it got the better of Intankov. I think the occasion was too much for him. He was playing his passes a bit too soon, a bit sloppy. He was going for this. It was selfish as well. I mean, you know, a lot of players go down and die or feign injury to try and get the referee's attention. There was one where he was just feigning injury in the box, and even his team had moved on. And if the ball had been played to Suwon in attack there, he would have been in an offside position because he was in front of the keeper. And you're just thinking that's selfish. That's you're not really thinking about the bigger play here. You're thinking about yourself. You're thinking about, and I didn't rate his performance today. Sadly, I think the rest of the team, they did the best, but I think John Sejin possibly had the best game for Suwon. He continues to be a good, promising youngster. And
We'll stick it with Suwon real quick, and then we'll touch back on Seoul. This is 3 winless for them now.
Yes.
When they come out and done well against Jeonbuk, they would be right there in that league title. And today, Jeonbuk picked up just 1 point. The Dragons held them to a draw, which they had an advantage for. The Dragons maybe should have won, but either way, there were points to be taken, and Suwon couldn't take advantage of it today. Is this title race done and dusted, or can Suwon pick this back up?
Well, okay, to answer the title race question, I think Jeonbuk rarely lose position once they get into first place. Over the history of the last 2 seasons, when Jeonbuk are in first place, they rarely let go, and it's been there and time again. I don't see this going to anybody else at this moment. But just to touch on what you're saying there, like, it's been the last 3 games, and it's all started with 3 games ago in Jeonbuk, where the manager himself, after a great game at Gyeongnam, a game we praised on here, saying, wow, Suwon looked the real deal. He goes and makes a wholesale changes to the team. He basically throws away the title there, losing to Jeonbuk, letting them go 7 points ahead, and then midweek he's unable to break down Ulsan, and he's ended up having to play his strongest team again today. He's now got another Champions League game as well next week, so I think the manager has got it completely wrong on how to approach this, and he's lost, I mean, all those fans that travel to Jeonju to see that team sheet. You'd almost want reimbursements at seeing that, and I think the manager has got it wrong this whole week. This has been a bad week for Seoul after
Suwon.
No, for Seo Jung-won.
Oh.
Sorry, it's been a bad week for the Suwon manager.
Yeah.
And he will look back at this week and think, well, this is where the league went. And the best hope for Suwon now is the FA Cup and the Champions League.
Yeah. Well, and conversely, on the other side of things for Seoul, here we are again at Sangam, where they pick up their 3rd win. All 3 wins have been here at home. Here we are again. Have they finally turned the corner? Is this Seoul turning the corner, or are we in for yet another yo-yo letdown next week?
Well, that's it. We won't know until next week.
Yeah.
Well, if they do manage to build on this, because now it's now 3 games unbeaten. I mean, you can look at it now that they won the super match today. It's a glass half full situation.
Sure.
It was 2 0-0 draws, but it was 2 clean sheets. So you can take the positives from that. Yeah. A good win today, and it's not just any win; it's a super match. Yeah. So that's going to confidence and then some. So I think in the next game, we only then will we see if they have managed to finally turn the corner. I mean, in terms of in the league standings, they couldn't get any higher than where they were today anyway. But
I have to say that I think that FC Seoul looked unshackled today. They looked like they were told to go out and play. Yeah. And obviously, this is more your area of expertise, but I think that like Hwang was very picky, very wanting to.
Restrictive.
Very restrictive. He wanted to play a certain way, and I think even though his caretaker manager has come in, I think he's just let them go out and play, and just it could be seen today, and it felt like a Seoul team from a couple of seasons ago, the one that won the title. I think it was a better Seoul team. Even though they had that 3-0 against Daegu, I think their performance for the majority of the match was the better one against Daegu. I don't know. Obviously, you were here for
the Daegu performance was more comprehensive, but again, Daegu weren't the best on that occasion. I mean, they had a good game against Jeonbuk, as you saw. Yeah. But Daegu didn't really do themselves any favours that afternoon. But yeah, I think they did look like they had a bit more freedom. But it's because they have players like Evandro, who has power and pace, and he showed that with the 2 assists that he got on the counter. And the first one, he mugged well, not fullback, but their defender who's in the fullback position. He mugged him, arm muscled him, put the ball across, and it's having. He's made such a huge difference.
Yeah.
Not having him in the team because he was injured with a hamstring problem for the first few weeks has really set Seoul back. If he was fit from the very off, would Hwang still be here? Possibly. It's obviously it's ifs and buts. But
he had him for a lot of games, though.
He had him for a lot of games, but he was always playing catch up because he was never quite fit enough. Now we see the fit Evandro that we saw at Daegu last year, who in that second half of the season was superb.
Yeah.
Again today, I mean, he'll feel like he scored those 2 goals because they're for his best mate Anderson, who has finally got off the mark for Seoul now. He's got his first 2 goals this afternoon. He is a confidence player. He's still got a lot to work on. He still sometimes holds onto the ball a little bit too long for my liking. But the finish for the second one was a great finish. For the first one, it was good instinct, striker's instinct to get in that position. So yeah, Seoul moving forward. If they can play like they did here today, it's all ifs and buts, and we won't know until next week. But they'll certainly be buoyed by this because it is a good performance and it was a super match.
Yeah, I think cautious optimism for Seoul right now, right?
Of course, yeah.
So it is weird leaving a super match where they come away victors and saying we have to see until next week to see how things are going. It is a positive for them, though. Either way, this has got to be a positive thing, especially with a new manager in and everything else. This is something for them to build on. But that's about it for us from here. For now, we're going to go down in the tunnel and try to get some conversation going with some of the players down there. So if you have any questions, comments, reactions, anything you want us to get that in the comments below, and we'll be back probably next week. All right, thanks for watching. Somewhere. Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you liked the video and you want to see some of these in the future, go ahead and click subscribe by hitting the button here, and you can see these faces in the future. Thanks for watching.